Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM, AM 630. WMAL.
7:37 on a Monday morning. Redskins disappointing yesterday. This Redskins report, Trevor Matich in the house. Brian Wilson out, Brian Neiman and Mary Catherine here, but we got another big man in the big man's chair.
Yeah, we're short of Brian.
We are.
Yeah, we don't have a full house anymore.
This Redskins report presented by Fork Union Military Academy. Welcome, Trevor.
Thank you, Mary Catherine.
I'm getting whiplash. The dream is alive. The dream is dead. The quarterback is John Beck. The quarterback is Rex Grossman. What's going on?
Yes. It's like a pinball game. Just put your eyes in one spot. Don't try to follow the little silver ball. It's the Redskins were doing so well early in the season,
right.
and all of it were still early in the season. But then all of a sudden they had an epic meltdown, and you're right about that. What got them to 3-1 was essentially disciplined play. It was quarterback Rex Grossman playing within the system, not trying to make plays, just taking the plays that were there, letting the defense and special teams win. That got them to 3-1. And what we had here, in my opinion, was Rex Grossman not trying to be a good little robot and operate the offense as it comes to him, but rather Rex Grossman trying to be a transformer. He wanted to be Optimus Prime, and he went out and tried to make big plays and ended up throwing 4 picks.
Oh, there was a glimmer of hope right before that third pick, which was the one right after our interception, right? And that.
Yeah, Vince Young threw a pick, and then Rex threw a pick on the next one.
Threw it right back. Although this is one where I think it was Fred Davis's fault, the tight end. He was running over the middle. It was a post route, and it looked to me like Rex expected him to cut in front of the deep safety. So he threw the ball right at the deep safety. But then Fred didn't cut in front. He went behind the safety, and it looked like a horrible throw. I don't put that one on Rex. What I do put on Rex is in the post-game press conference. He pointed the finger at Fred Davis. He basically blamed Fred Davis, and what his motivations were, I'll leave to him to explain. But even though he was right, in my opinion, on that interception, you can't, as a starting quarterback, do that. You can't do that because you lose the team. This is what happens. If I'm a player in the locker room and I make a mistake and the quarterback stands up in the post-game press conference, points his finger at me and says, Trevor Matich made that mistake, I think two things. First thing I think is, he's right. I did make that mistake. Second thing I think is, now I know whose back he has. When the pressure is on, he has his own. Now, I don't think Rex is that guy. He hasn't been that guy. But he appeared to be that guy this time, and it was a mistake to give that appearance.
Having said that, though, you don't hear wide receivers or tight ends very often say, yeah, that one was on me, I ran a bad route. I mean, it just doesn't happen very often.
No, you don't, because wide receivers,
they never
more
make
than
mistakes.
tight ends, tend to be kind of princesses sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, so they won't do that. But Fred, to his credit, did. He came on the postgame show on Comcast Sportsnet afterwards, and he did take blame for that. Now, whether or not that was fully his fault, it looked to me like it was. But Fred stood up there and said that was not Rex's fault. Whose back did Fred Davis have? He had his quarterback's back.
Right.
Now look at the contrast. See what I'm saying?
All right, so then are we done with the Rex Grossman era? Are we ready to move on to John Beck after that?
Yeah, in the next 10 minutes. Mary Catherine, make sure you've got your neck brace ready because it's going to go back and forth. The thing about Beck is that this is what we talked about preseason, that there wasn't a whole lot of difference between the two. But Rex Grossman had all that experience, and Beck did not. And so what could Beck do when he started to gain some regular season game experience? Well, he had some ups and downs. He had some real downs. He missed some open throws. He made some mistakes when he came in the fourth quarter. But he followed those mistakes by making some great throws, taking them down to score that touchdown to bring them within 7 points. And so, it'll be interesting to see if Beck can be not Optimus Prime.
Yeah, I was going to say, after 3 games, he decides to be Optimus Prime.
Right, no. He needs to be that good little robot.
Right.
Remember, throw the ball 4 yards. Right. Now it's 2nd and 6. 4 yards again. Now it's 3rd and 2. You're not a hero in the stats, and nobody has you on their fantasy team, but you keep the starting job.
Yeah. It's a disappointing game because they had a chance to really bury the Eagles, because I don't know if the Eagles could have come back having lost the game against the Redskins yesterday, but now it gives them life, and they're right back in the thick of things, or at least they can get back into the thick of things.
Well, the heavy thumb of the media and fans in Philadelphia was squarely on the neck of the Philadelphia Eagles at 1-4, and but now at least they have some reprieve. Now they have the pressure would have been redoubled. They had to double down on it in Philadelphia. So you're right; it could have really possibly buried the Eagles. Also, the Eagles were one of the worst teams in the league stopping the run, and the Redskins feature back Ryan Terrain averaged 2.2 yards per carry. That's an epic fail right there. And it's a team fail. It's not just him. But what the Eagles did was, instead of being too complex, instead of being out of their gaps because they were trying to do too many things, they simplified. They still ran their basic wide nine defense that everybody gives them grief for. But they just played simple football, so they knew where to be, and they were in their gaps, and the Redskins weren't able to push them out. They weren't able to enforce their will.
Is there any silver lining to knowing they were down 20-0 to the Eagles, and they made a run at it, despite the fact that their quarterback threw 4 picks?
Yeah, there are some silver linings. One is that the defense gave up 20 points in the first half. Made a few small adjustments, shut them out in the second half. Think about that. They shut them out. Now, they didn't get them off the field on that last drive, but they were pretty worn out by then. No points for Philly in the second half. That's good. As far as the offense is concerned, they lost 2 offensive linemen. Their starting left tackle, Trent Williams, the 4th pick in the entire draft, 2010 draft, and they lost their left guard, Corey Lichtensteiger, possibly for the season. The 2 guys that went in and filled in, Sean Locklear and Eric Cook, by and large, played pretty well. They made some mistakes, but they weren't over their heads. So that was a good silver lining. So there are some good things to build on here.
Well, you've talked about one of the advantages of this team being sort of a no-drama team and getting its head on straight. With the quarterback controversy, where does that head next week? Well,
we're about to find out. And this will be part of the fun and the drama of this week. Will the Redskins revert now into finger-pointing mode? Because this is where they've been for 10 years.
Right.
This team was built as a series of individuals, like a Mr. Potato Head. You take a nose, you stick it in, you take some glasses. No, I like those glasses. Give me that mustache. And it wasn't a cohesive team. Well, this team has been a cohesive team. It hasn't been challenged yet. Now it has. So let's look this week at what they're saying out of the locker room, and let's see how they perform against Carolina in the next game, because it'll go a lot to tell you whether or not that cohesiveness was just a passing phase.
Cooley got hurt as well. He hasn't done a whole lot this year, but still, it's never good to lose.
No, and it hurt to lose him in this game. He broke his finger.
Yeah.
He was absolutely crushed on a play. Did a good job not fumbling the ball. He didn't see the tackler coming. Tackler hit him right in the chest, hit him in the hand as well, broke his finger, and he still held on to the football, which is a good thing. But they had a package of 2 tight end running games that looked like it was going to be successful. And Cooley went out. They couldn't run it anymore. And so that was a problem as well. He'll be out for at least several weeks. He has to have surgery on his finger.
Before I let you go, did you see the post-game Lions 49ers with the coaches and the handshake, the controversial handshake? And
no,
it was too
what
hard?
happened?
You didn't
Yeah,
hear
I missed this too, and I watched the Lions game.
The coach for the 49ers, no, I'm blanking on his name. Harbaugh,
yeah,
thank
John
you.
Harbaugh.
Went after the game, was John Harbaugh was very excited, and then shook Jim Schwartz's hand and shook it really hard, and then slapped him all in the back, and then apparently, said a F yeah or something like that, and Schwartz got all indignant about it, chased him down the sidelines and pushed him, and there was big. It wasn't a bench clearing brawl, but it was they had to hold the coaches back at the end.
Okay, my first impression: if you're the owner, you're mortified that your coach did that. If you're a player on their team, you love it that the coach did that, and you have your coaches back. Your coach is out there fighting the other coach. I'm going to go fight the other coach's players. That's the wrong thing to do. And it's fantastic all at the same time.
For both teams, right? Because both players will appreciate their coach. Number one, Harbaugh, being excited. Number 2, Schwartz trying to defend himself.
Well, Harbaugh's like that. I mean, he had 48 points on USC when he was coaching at Stanford, was wiping them out late in the game, went for 2. So Harbaugh's like that. And his players respond to it. That's one of the reasons he's turned them around.
All right. Well, I thought about that when you shake our hands, because my hand always hurts afterwards.
Yeah, but not Mary Catherine. Mary Catherine is very.
Well, I'm stronger than Neiman. That's part
true.
of it.
We've learned that over.
But you and I were trying to establish the alpha male dominance here, and so far I'm losing miserably. So I'm trying to find a way to get that, Brian.
All right, Trev. Great to have you.